Welcome to the Lowkey Dreamers. Who do we have here with us today?
Yo, what's going on, family? This your boy right here, Christou the King.
Christou the
What's up?
King.
Yes,
Chilling,
sir.
brother. Chilling, chilling. I see you busy. You pulled over to do the Zoom interview. That means I hope everybody who watching this understand the type of passion you gotta have to do that.
Yeah, for sure, man. The grind don't stop, man. There's always something going on, and I'm thankful to be blessed to continue to move every day in what I love doing.
Yes, sir. So let everybody know where you're from, man.
Christou is from South Carolina, home of the Gamecocks, and a lot of country woods. So we got boots on the ground. One of the hottest trending songs that hit this year, and social media craze. So I'm from that area where we produce a lot of that kind of music and everything else.
Hell yeah. So I want to ask, how long have you been doing music?
Man, since I've been singing since I've been 3 years old. I've been playing instruments probably since probably about like 6 or 7 years old as far as percussion. I was in like all kind of bands, marching band, jazz band, concert band. I was in a rock band before. I've been in a country band before as a drummer. So I have a wide range of background with music. And it started, very young for me.
Which genre of music is the most fun for you to work on since you dibble and dab in so many different ones? Which is the most fun for you?
Um, I want to say right now, EDM. It's something that because I produce too, so I've been making a lot more of my beats. I usually have a team of producers that I work with, and I still work with them, but I just wanted to get back in my bag of producing. So, EDM has been real fun. I mean, I crush R&B, hip hop. I have my lyricism going for me, but just getting back to having fun is just like EDM is just like that. It's not more so new, but it is kind of new for me, especially with the production wise. Like it's definitely new for me in production, and I get to write a little bit differently, and than I'm usually doing. So I think that's real fun, man. I appreciate you asking that.
Yeah, EDM is a fun genre, and it's always good to have your hand in EDM because I feel like, especially in this day and age, you can get invited to so many EDM festivals all over. I feel like it's a
Yeah.
lot of job opportunity in that genre. You know what I mean?
Nah, definitely. Definitely, the ability to be able to travel. It's a worldwide thing, so you're not limited to being just in the United States. I think, just the flexibility you have with it, that's what makes it so fun. And then even in the space of like, landing commercials and things like that,
Mhm.
it opens opportunities for things like that and movie scenes and things like that too.
So, what made you? First off, I know you said you've been singing since you were three. Did your parents ever tell you like your first song you ever sang to them, or like, I just wonder what made you really get into music? Is like your family a music family? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So, starting off in church, you know what I'm saying? That was kind of the biggest thing, is my family was heavily oriented in the church and we have a band. My mom sings and my dad sings. And not so much now as they used to, but they both had an influence. I didn't necessarily grow up with my dad, but I knew about him and I knew that he would travel and sing from time to time. But my mom, my first song was singing a duet with her, The Precious Lamb of God, by Kurt Franklin. And she did the, Tamala Mann's parts, and then I did Brown's parts, even when I was broken hearted. So, that was my like that was my first, introduction to learning the song, like knowing the lyrics, all the way through, um, performing in front of people, so stage presence, and just like battling my nervousness, so I started with all that real early. So later on, like, you still, I think everybody still has like a pinch of nerves. Like, it's always a new crowd, it's always new people. You want to make sure you putting out the best impression with who you are and what you're trying to deliver through your performance. So I think even still that never leaves. But I handle it well. If that does occur, I definitely handle it well based on me starting so early.
I'm about to say, man, no, you can't just be coming out singing like that, brother. Especially that song, because that's one of my favorite gospel songs. That's one of the songs that always make me cry. I ain't gonna lie to you. Every time I listen to it, it make me cry. Every single
Yeah,
time.
what's crazy is like when I do sing that, I'm usually like requested in the areas around me for like funerals and weddings. And so, that's one of the ones I sing for funerals. That Diedrich Haddon, I should have been dead in my grave. God bless me.
Mhm.
Sit. You know, I need you now, Smokey Norfolk, so I still have a lot of, church influence in what I do. But primarily I am performing in hip hop and R&B. I landed, I've been on the radio down here in South Carolina since like 2009, 2008, somewhere around there. So, for me, like I'm a celebrity throughout the state, but I've still been working on my regional presence. Sometimes I appear in New York, sometimes I appear in Toronto, so just trying to make it all come together like a big label does, because I'm solely independent. Is that's kind of the task that I've been putting together for the past couple of years.
In your opinion, why do people with a church background always venture out and do other music as well? Because I was raised in the church and I pretty much did the same thing. Sang, used to do devotion, all that stuff, get everybody, hype in the church, ready to praise. And I try my hand at different genres of music as well. Why do you think that people who grow up in the church are so like musically inclined, or like they just end up falling into music at some point in their life? In your opinion.
I think that's a big part of the service of church, is like people coming together and congregating and finding something common to like take away their stresses. So like the singing does that. When you're listening to a sermon, you just really just sitting there listening, trying to figure out, where it works for you, how it pertains to you. But with the singing, you just like letting go, relaxing, enjoying yourself. And whether you can sing the best notes or you can, just sing a little bit, then you still are invited to come along and sing with everybody. And I think um doing it in that way, we grow accustomed to it, and then we want as musical as artists, because we don't realize like that kind of uh congregating and coming together, it is artistry, coming together. So we don't realize it as often. And so we want to always, as a creative, you always finding a way to either sharpen your talents or just do something different that inspires you to create new art. And I think that's why, we venture out. I mean, technically all music came from R&B, like, and on the African American end, like all our music came from gospel music. Like, that was the first thing we learned in English, so therefore, all our music pertained to the first things we're learning. The way we worship, we applied that into what we were being taught coming over, as slaves. So at that same standpoint, like we had other issues besides just saying, "Oh, give it to God," or let's talk to God. It's just things that we wanted to express to other people, like relationship wise. Things that you could say is easier to say in a song, and it sounds better coming in a song rather than just saying it directly to somebody and just risking confrontation. I think the way we expanded our music, we saw what it did for us in church, and then we saw what it could do for us in other places. And I think just on everybody's journey that is in church, it starts off that way, and then it just kind of like, your curiosity takes over, and then you just venture out, and you get rewarded for doing that. I don't think it's not doing God's work. Like, every aspect of you is God made, so every aspect of you is something that you and God can deal with, even if it's not the typical spiritual church message or whatever. Like, we are still here to procreate. So having music about sex is not deviant, because we have to do this to keep life going. So I think, just I think a lot of people don't think that there's a connection between those things, but it really is. Spirituality is about you and your evolution, you know what I'm saying, and your connection with God. And it's the same thing in other music. It's about you and your expression and how you feel, whether it's good or positive or negative. That's what it is. And we see that early in church. We notice it early in church because it's a constant thing in our life. So hopefully I ain't ran too long with explaining that,
Oh,
but
no, no. I'm about to say I actually love when whoever I'm interviewing just, I'm here to interview you. You know what I'm saying? You're not interviewing me. So, hey, I appreciate it, brother. You make my job easy. I appreciate
For sure, man. For
it.
sure. I appreciate the questions, man. These are some good questions.
So, do you have more fun producing or singing?
It's equal. Like, I love what I do. I feel like I'm a beast at what I do. I've been humble all my life, and I've never really said stuff like that. But now I think I'm in my era to like shine and grow. That's why I like this shirt, because Outkast, like, this is kind of like their point of just evolving beyond the box of music they were creating at that point. And so that's what this shirt means for me. Is these are people I grew up listening to, and that's what influenced me to go to hip hop and other stuff. It was the genius of the songwriting and how music made me think in other genres beyond just something to heal my spirit and feel good. Like, instead of just like this medicine to make me feel good, this is something that's working my brain and working my gears. So, that's what I liked about Outkast, and that's kind of what influenced me to move further into other genres. Them and Ludacris, man. So, just seeing like how, they were just like wordsmiths, but it all made sense, and it still made people feel good. It still was therapeutic. You didn't your they tackled some thoughts that you thought were only your thoughts. You know what I mean? Like, even Sorry Miss Jackson, like, that's a song that, like, you wouldn't normally hear, like, somebody talking to your baby mama's mama. Like,
Yeah.
you're not normally gonna hear a song, dudes really like warring with that lady, in the
Yeah.
streets for real. Sometimes, not all the time, but so for that to be, just a thought that was actually brought into music, that's a beautiful thing, and I think that's what we all do this for.
Since we're on the topic of Outkast, why do you believe that Andre 3000 is held to such a high regard, but no one really, Big Boy gets his flowers, but not as much as Andre? I know Andre's supposed to be the weird one, but in my opinion, they work so beautifully together. Like, but why do Andre get so much more? I feel like sometimes people throw Big Boy to the side. You know what I mean? In your opinion, since you're a fan and you grew up listening to them, why do you think that people love Andre so much? Like,
I think he's the imbalance, and Big Boy is the balance. And like, Big Boy is what we've been hearing in hip hop, but a southern version of it. Like, he to me, he's had some amazing lyrics, and like you say, he definitely gets overshadowed. Like, he really doesn't get his flowers for real a lot of times, but you know the industry does recognize him. BMI celebrated them guys, and they celebrated both of them. And they gave both of them something. You know what I mean? So I just think Andre, it's always the eccentric things that catch people. His style of dress, you know what I mean? The bravery for, wearing the wigs and the Hey Ya videos. Um, and being several characters, like that's not something, most rappers were going to do, period. You know what I mean? So him being a pioneer and creating that lane for the Odd Futures, the Tyler the Creators, the Young Bees, the Lil Uzi Verts, the Lil Yachty's, you know what I mean? The people that are rapping, but they're doing it in a different way to express their uniqueness. I think he was the pioneer for that, and that's where he gets that level up. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, I'm a singer, but people just like singing way more than rapping, bro. Like he can sing too, so he can harmonize and sing. And as a singer that can rap, I can, I'm like a Drake and a J. Cole. I can or Kendrick. I can sing and rap. And for me, the way I feel against those guys, I sing way better than them guys. But you know what I'm saying? Like being able to do both, people tend to choose the singing. Like people be like, oh yeah, you can rap, you got some bars, that's cool. But where you singing at though? I want to hear you singing. I didn't put you on my playlist to hear you rap. You know what I'm saying? I'm spitting, bro. Like I'm spitting. But I think that's just what it is, and it's cool because I get it. The singing strikes more emotions for each person. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes the message could be complete bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Or it could be just steps to a dance like the Cupid Shuffle. You know what I mean? But the way people feel translates, through the singing. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that goes hand in hand, and I think that's really what gives Andre the edge. Besides his poetry and music, it's a little different. Like it's not he rhymes with saying complete sentences. You know what I'm saying? Like he not putting random things together to rhyme and it come together and be like, oh, these are cool punchlines.
It's like
Like
he's talking
he
to you.
right, he's creating whole stories in a whole 16 bar, but it all rhymes. It sounds good, you know what I mean? So, and he makes you think, So I think he does even lyrically have a little edge on Big Boy. But I don't think he would be him without having Big Boy there. You know what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich without the peanut butter. So, Big Boy is highly necessary in the evolution of Outkast, period. And where they are. Like it just wouldn't be that without him and what he contributed and Andre and what he contributed.
Hearing you explain the rapping and the singing and how singing evokes more emotion is funny because I thought of somebody kind of explained that. It was Jamie Foxx when he was doing one of his stand-ups, how he said that when women would come over to his house, he would sing a theme song to the Brady Bunch and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
the way he was singing, it would sound so beautiful that the women didn't care what he was saying anyway. So
That's how
that
that goes, man.
yeah. So hearing you explain that, I automatically thought of that in my head because I used to watch that all the time, like all the time. And I thought it was so funny because he sings so well. I'm like, I totally get what he's saying. That's so funny that you brought that up.
Bro, I can give you a prime example. Like, all right, I'm a grown man, bro. Like, nobody really gonna hear me want to hear me say, I got a shit. You know what I'm saying? But like, if I say, I got a shit, yeah, and it's coming right now, ooh, right now, ooh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be different, bro. It's just different. You know what I mean? You feel me? So that I feel like that's kind of where that goes, bro. Like
Yeah,
it
that's
just
hilarious.
falls on the singing side. Like you can say anything, and people go as long as you sing it well, people gonna love it.
So, how would you describe for the people, how would you describe your sound right now to the music you make?
Unique, unique, and I think that's what my audience loves about me. Like, it's a new experience. You're not finna come to me and get Drake or get J. Cole or get Chris Brown. I might in certain songs sound like Chris Brown because we have like a similar vocal tone, but in reality, like it's Christou. You know what I'm saying? Like for sure, I am who I am. I am my own songwriter and most all my songs. So like you getting me, you get an experience of me and what I go through, and then just as how I write, I always write for somebody to be self motivated. So you gonna get something from me too. You're gonna get a little bit of medicine in the drop.
Would you ever, let's say you in the music industry, like fully in, labels messing with you, all that, right?
Mm.
Let's say the label doesn't want you to be the star. The label doesn't want you to be the face. They want somebody else to be the face, but the person who's the face can't write. Would you ever consider being a ghostwriter, as long as you're in the music industry or anything like that? Or how do you feel about that?
Oh, most definitely. I've written a few songs for people that have done pretty well. I do background vocals for a lot of people. It's a few gospel artists that have won some big awards that I'm just kind of quietly there in the background for some of this stuff. So, I do that already and I don't mind. You know what I'm saying? You get paid for that stuff. So like the downfall of being an artist is you got to spend that gas, you got to spend the wardrobe repertoire, you know
Let
what I
them
mean?
know.
Like,
Let them know.
for works. So it's a lot of expenses that go into that. And if you can find a career doing something that doesn't take as many expenses and you're getting profit from it, then by all means you should do that because that's gonna help fuel you to be a prominent star without having to worry about somebody handing out money to you. Because I mean, all deals are loans, bro. Like you got to pay them back. So at the end of the day, you really want to be self sufficient anyway, so that even if you was to get a deal and it's this $20 million deal, like you don't just spend all that money and not be able to make it back for the label. So you want to pretty much either way be self sufficient,
I
and I
love
think those side careers help with that.
I love the way you broke that down and explained that because I don't think people really understand who don't do music. Mainly I'm mainly speaking about the listener only. They don't
Yeah,
understand how much work the artist does and how much money, like you said, expenses the artist himself has to pay in the background. They just see the glitz and the glamour in the videos and they hear the music, but they don't understand you have to pay for studio time. You got to pay for a beat if you're not a producer and you can't produce your own beats. Not only for studio time to record, you got to pay the studio to master. Usually they'll mix it for you, but you got to pay them to master if you want it to sound real good.
yeah,
Um, you know what I'm saying? You got to pay videographers to shoot these videos.
yeah.
Sometimes they charge by location. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right,
I love when independent artists just break that down and kind of pull the sheet back to let people look. You know what I mean? Because I feel
right,
like a lot of people are a lot of people just don't understand. They think people blow up overnight sometimes, but they don't
right.
realize a lot of artists put years of hard work into this, years of money, spending money into this. You know what I mean? So
It's
I
either
think,
that or nepotism, one of the two.
yep. Yeah. Yep. So I just love to highlight that because even with this channel we want to show people the real, because so many people are trying their hand at music nowadays, but they don't really understand how it go. Like when someone gets signed, they'll be like, "Oh, they signed for 2 million," and they'll be trying to talk to me, and I'll be trying to let them know, like, "Hey, like he got 2 million now. The money he really got is that advance, and whatever he do with that advance, he got to pay that 2 million back first off, plus interest, or however the deal is set up. You know what I
Right,
mean?
exactly.
I'll be trying to explain to people, it look good on camera, but I'm telling you,
Right.
they are
And
not
and
living
that's
like
how
that.
the industry designed it, man. Like the industry designed it to make it look like even how they do TV shows, they design these things to make it look way more magnificent and way more easier than it actually is. So, it's a part of the lure that keeps everybody wanting to do this. You know what I mean? So I think that's where people over the years have got caught up in it, but then they've they've believed in it so strongly that they've shamed others for going towards their goals or not reaching a certain level or whatever. But being independent, having your LLC, having your EIN, knowing your paperwork as far as like BDS, knowing the difference between a mechanical license and a performance license or any other kind of royalties. You know what I mean? Just knowing those things kind of sets you in place so that you really don't you're established at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to sit here and like go for these goals of industry, because more so industry is really like relationships. It's not necessarily like this magic golden ticket, to the Willy Wonka factory. Like it's more so relationships of, okay, I can call on this person and they can do me a favor that'll help me make a lot of money, and then I can bless them out of that favor. You know what I mean? Like it just becomes that after a while in the industry. I know a few people in the industry, and so it's for me, that's how I utilize it to maintain my independence, is to continue to build those relationships as if I were going for a deal, but utilize my own muscle to continue to generate my income, and use that to continue to put back into myself as an artist and other artists that I work with. It's been times where I would put something behind other artists and help them do what they need to do, or just put enough information in their hands so that they can get the ball rolling for themselves. So I just want the audience to know, like, when you are doing your thing and you set all the things into place to protect yourself, you are established. You created your own industry. You know what I mean? And you just got to thrive in that. You have to network yourself with other industries that are thriving, and then you just consider yourself already there. You know what I mean? I want to get at to anybody that's watching, because a lot of people feel like they're not there yet.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate you. You made my job so easy. I appreciate it. Also, man, while we touching on the independent grind, explain to people how important promotion and marketing is, because I don't think people understand that either. Because I know so many people who have really, really great music, and they get so frustrated and upset because it doesn't go anywhere. And I try to tell them it doesn't go anywhere because you're not putting the money behind marketing or promotion for people to hear it. I like it, but I'm your homeboy. So,
Yeah,
I genuinely like it though. It could go somewhere, but just explain to people how important it is for marketing and promotion to people, for people to hear your talent, because you can make the best song in the world, but if no one knows you made it,
it,
it's like that old saying, if a tree falls in the middle of a wood, in the middle of the woods, did you hear it? You know what I mean? Does it make a sound? You know what I mean?
it's making sound. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it's super important. Like I think it's to put it in layman's terms, like it's as important as wanting to go somewhere and having to have gas in your car. Like you can't, if you driving, you gonna need gas for that car to move. So you're gonna pay the bill of for fuel so that your car can continue to move. Same thing with you as an artist, or you as whatever entity. That's what makes the industry is commercials. The billboards, the print, the media, all these things that keep you in somebody's face. People have an attention span of 8 seconds since social media came around. So it could be something that takes somebody complete. It could be a whole different competing industry. It could be food that made somebody forget all about you after they just met you. You know what I'm saying? Or after they just saw your ad. So you got to be in their face 2, 3, 4 times a day sometimes, especially when you're competing against the industry. That's what they're doing with their money. They take their money and put it fully into advertising and marketing, because that's what gets people to see them and stay reminded of who they are. So when people do make their money, they know exactly where they want to go. And it's the same thing for you. Like as an artist, you want to be in people's face as much as possible. That's what I spend my money on, is marketing and promo. Shout out to Hey Dom 803, who got me this interview right here, man. Like my dude just goes out looking for work for me, you know what I mean? Just stay relevant, stay in people's face, and meeting amazing people like you, Josh, and just doing this, and just doing these interviews and staying in people's face. I mean, marketing and promotion is super important. Is like I said, it's just like being in a house and needing lights. You know what I mean? Like you got to pay your bill. You think about it, you got to pay your light bill. Like you might pay your light bill before you pay your rent. So in the same instance, you look at your marketing and promotion like that. Like that is a bill. Once you start doing it heavy, that's just as important as your light bill. If you see, oh, this is the end of the month, I'm starting to get to the point to where I need to pay to do promotion for next month, you need to take that as serious. Like take that more serious than your habits. If you got a habit of smoking and drinking and you spend so and so amount of dollars, spend half of that and put half of that into marketing and then just sacrifice doing that fun thing for a month and see where that gets you. Like it's gonna get you somewhere and it's gonna get you seen. And I think, just seeing all of that, for yourself work for you, then it'll motivate you to do it more. But it's just as important as putting gas in your car or having lights in your house, or if you don't drive, getting a bus ticket, getting a MARTA ticket, whatever. You know what I mean? So hopefully I'll explain that well.
That was a great analogy. I never thought about it like that, but that was a great analogy for real. All right, man.
Yeah, that's how
So,
that's how it's moving, bro. Like I look at it like that. You got to kind of look at it like that because it'll be sometimes where you'll be like, "Well, I need this money to go do this," and do you actually? And sometimes you might not, or sometimes you might build a stronger hustling muscle, by just going ahead and paying for this, and then just saying, "All right, I'm finna earn the rest of this what I thought I was missing this month."
hmm man, go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, man, so they can check out your music.
All right, yo, 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 what's going on, man? It's the one and only, the new king of R&B, the new king of pop, Christou the King. That's spelled Christ Oudakeng, and that's on everything at ChristouTheKing.com, at Christou the King on IG, Facebook, TikTok, everything, man. Snapchat, you know what I mean? Christou the King, man. You can Google me, and everything for me gonna pop up. So y'all look out for me.
All right, man. Thank you so much for giving us your time, bro. We really appreciate that. Just like we're helping you stay in people's face, you helping us as well. So just want to let you know you appreciate it, brother.
I
For real.
appreciate you, my brother. Anytime you need me, holla at me.
Yes, sir. And that wraps up another episode of the Low Key Dreamers.